How to Overcome Fear, a story that will change the way you face the darkness. Fear doesn't live in the world, it lives in your mind, and it grows stronger every time you choose to run. What if the thing you're most afraid of is only waiting for you to face it? This is a story about fear, friendship, and the power of standing tall when everything inside you wants to hide. Sometimes, the most dangerous enemy isn't outside you. It doesn't wear a face or carry a weapon. It whispers quietly from within, feeding on your doubts, twisting your thoughts, and painting shadows where there should be light. It's called fear. Fear convinces you that you're not enough. Fear tells you stories that were never yours to begin with. And fear grows every time you run from it. But what if, just once, you didn't run? What if you stood your ground, looked fear in the eye, and said, "I'm not afraid. Not anymore." Let me tell you a story. A story about two friends, and one night that changed everything. In a quiet village surrounded by thick woods and open skies, two best friends lived a simple life. They laughed together, worked together, and shared the kind of bond that only childhood could build. One day, they had to travel to the city for some important business. It was a long journey, but they completed their tasks without trouble. As the sun began to sink and shadows stretched across the land, they started their journey home. But the road back led them through a vast forest, one known for its eerie silence, an age-old legend. By the time they reached its edge, darkness had begun to settle. The trees loomed tall, and the air turned cold. But the forest was a maze, and soon he lost his way. Still, they walked on, until one of them grew thirsty. "I'll be quick," he said, stepping off the trail in search of water. They reunited, but the sun had vanished behind the trees. The forest was no longer quiet. It whispered, it moved, it watched. A thick mist curled along the ground. Branches cracked in the distance. The path home had disappeared. They needed shelter. Tucked behind some overgrown bushes, they found a tunnel cave, forgotten by time. It wasn't perfect, but it would do. They gathered dry wood, lit a small fire, and sat close to its glow. The flames flickered wildly, throwing long shadows across the stone walls. The wind outside howled like something ancient, something alive. One of the friends grew uneasy. He stared at the shadows, heart racing, every sound louder than the last. "I don't know," he whispered. "Do you think there could be ghosts in here?" The other friend turned to him, calm as the firelight in his eyes. "People I know, they've seen things." "Have you ever seen one?" he asked. "No, but I've heard stories. Don't feed it. Just rest. Tomorrow, we move on." The calm friend smiled. "Don't let someone else's fear decide your truth," he said. "Fear grows when imagination runs wild." He lay down and drifted into sleep, breathing slow, steady. But the other couldn't. Every crackle of the fire felt like a whisper. Every shadow danced like something watching. His mind spiraled. His heart pounded. Eventually, sleep took him, but not peace. In his dream, the cave grew colder, the shadows deeper. A twisted hand reached out, fingers long, cold, sharp, and from the darkness, something emerged, a shape with no face, no form, just darkness, thick, heavy, crawling toward him. He tried to scream, but no sound came. He was frozen, terrified. The shadow loomed over him, breathless and close. Then suddenly he woke up, drenched in sweat, trembling, gasping for air. He shook his friend awake and poured out every detail of the nightmare. The friend listened without fear, and then said just one thing. "Next time fear comes, don't run, don't hide. Stand your ground. Tell it, I'm not afraid. Show yourself. Fear only wins when you surrender." That night, he fell asleep again. And again, the shadow returned, darker, colder, more terrifying than before. But this time, something inside him was different. He didn't run. He didn't tremble. He stood tall still inside the dream and shouted, "I'm not afraid. Show yourself. I am not afraid." His voice echoed in the dark, again and again. And with every word of courage, the shadow shrank. It grew smaller, weaker, until finally, it vanished. When he woke up, the first light of dawn was breaking through the trees. But something had changed. Not outside, inside. Moral of the story: fear is not real in the way we think it is. It isn't a monster. It isn't a ghost. It's a shadow, one that lives in your mind, feeding on silence and running stronger every time you give in. But the moment you stop running, the moment you look it in the eye and say, "I am not afraid," that's when you win. Because true strength doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from feeling fear and moving forward anyway. So the next time your fear tries to whisper in the dark, don't hide. Speak louder, stand taller, but you don't control me. And if this story gave you courage today, let it live in you. And subscribe to Whispers Within, where every story helps you rise above the voice that tells you you can take